Yes.
Mayor DiCarlo.
Yes. Anything else?
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, before I open up the meeting to the public on agenda items, since it's a stacked agenda, I wanted to make a few comments and clarifications before we open up the floor. The first would be in relation to the budget, which is about to be introduced tonight. The reason that you introduced tonight is because per the state best practices, it's the first meeting after the governor has said that we must introduce. So the main goal was to keep the budget and the tax rate as low as possible while maintaining essential services. So step one in that process was accomplished at reorganization when we appointed an outside accounting firm to balance the books and basically reconcile cash. Simply put, as many of you have attended meetings before, the books were a mess. And cash is finally reconciled and continue to be reconciled for the first time since I began setting up on this dais almost 3 years ago. Step two in that process is happening here tonight with the actual introduction of the budget. I'm not necessarily happy with the introduced budget tonight. However, I do believe it's a responsible start towards a budget that doesn't rely on what I've referred to in the past as budget gimmicks that are contrary to state best practices. So getting to where we are today in this introduction was not an easy task. Given the disarray that the books were in, we only received the final 2014 figures that outline the surplus, or lack thereof, only a few short weeks ago. The original budget requested comes through our township administrator. It was over $1 million more than what the department heads had requested on the general side, and another $935,000 more than the department heads requested on the water and sewer side. It also called for using 100% of our surplus or our savings account. The original administrator's budget yielded a tax increase of almost 10.6 cents. The budget introduced tonight not only removes those irresponsible additions, but also reduces the reliance on one-time revenues. So the next steps are as follows. Introduce a resolution here tonight which allows the township to work with the state to move toward the state health plan. As I said last year, sitting on this dais during the budget process, moving to the state health benefits will yield us approximately an $800,000 savings a year. Also introducing tonight on the agenda is an ordinance which allows us to use capital funds to make repairs to Union Stadium Field. With capital fund usage, this allows us to spread that over the way that those capital funds were bonded for, rather than lumping it all into one sum. This is a responsible way to use capital funds to pay for improvements that last 3 to 5 years, not to lump them all into 1 year to burden the taxpayers. Next, we'll hold a budget work session with the full committee sometime between 3:19 and 4:14 so the public can participate, and I ask each committee member to let the clerk know their availability on 3:24 or 4:4. It's at this work session that we will further reduce the budget and finalize any capital expenditures. I also plan to outline a plan to decrease our water rates and to begin to formulate a 3-year plan. On April 15th is when we will have our budget hearing. This timeline allows us to submit our state to the budget, which is part of the process, as well as advertise any changes that are rated by 10% as required by state statute. We will adopt our budget on or before June 3rd, so that the residents of West Deptford will receive their actual taxes this year for the third quarter and not in anticipation. So that's pretty much the sum of the budget. There will not be a budget presentation tonight either. We will reserve that for the public hearing. So that's item number 1. Item number 2 is the issue of the Union Stadium repairs, and I pass the floor to Committeeman Reed.